be here. And I want to especially thank Terry Schexnader, who got the ball rolling on this, and I owe so much to you, and I owe so much to the friends and family who are here. Thank you so much for being here. And I have to say that the person who's responsible for the title is also here tonight, and that's Jan Lehman. And I want to thank Jan so much for the title that either scares...
I hope I said in love. I can't remember.
Either scares the shirt off people or they love it, one or the other. So what I'm going to do is read from, I'm reading 3 excerpts from 3 different chapters. And I've really thought long and hard about how, exactly where in the book I should take this, because the protagonist of the book is not really a person, it's the land. And so what we're going to read tonight is about how connected the land is to these people, or disconnected it is to them. So this is 1994, and it's a Thanksgiving dinner with this big Texas family, and they know that the patriarch is dying of a brain tumor. They already know this. So they're just about finished with the meal. Everyone began talking at once. Richard, usually quiet, usually a quiet attendee, as to not call attention to his past incarceration, his addiction, or his gun running, spoke up. Healthcare reform? Hell, if they just think about prison reform. Mary wanted to refocus on VF. Dad, when you get to be judge, you'll change this gerrymandering nonsense, and then we'll have our state back. My darling girl, the only person in this room who's going to be a judge someday is you, he shot back. VF thought about the 3 things in life he wanted before he slipped his mortal coil: the Texas judgeship, the Kerr's distributorship, and promotion to brigadier general in the Air Force. He briefly frowned as he felt the sorrow that all were unobtainable. And then he smiled, telling himself, crybabies are losers. He sat down as if to pause to catch a wave of energy, and then picked up a leather-bound file, cradling it with both hands, and announced in his booming, court-enhanced voice, "There's one more thing I need to discuss with all of you here." The room grew silent as all eyes were fixed on the thick portfolio he held in vice grip. "Your mother and I have worked on this for the past several weeks, and now, together with Trudell, our lawyer in Drippin, now we have our last will and testament. Now, kids, when I tell you what we are leaving to you, I want you to remember this day. Remember the sweet smell of this family meal and the light from the beautiful Texas sky. Remember how it felt to drive down the dusty road over the cattle guard and to see the cattle out in the field. Recall the sound of the wind and nothing else. Hold those memories close. Hold this land close. Do not let this land go. It is part of all of our hard work. It will pay dividends to you and yours forever." And then he stood, mustering all of his strength, and watching the anticipation in the eyes of his children and grandchildren, he opened the portfolio, handing seven legal-sized slim packets to Mary. "Please pass to the kids." As she got up and handed each of her siblings their packet, he continued, "Mother gets all of the assets we hold together. If she chooses to give anything except the land away, that is her choice. She will then have a life estate for Silver Creek Ranch. When she passes, each of you, except Iris, will receive equal shares of this land. Do not sell it. Keep it in the family. It is valuable land. Now, Iris," he paused and looked at Iris, "I'm still working on what you will receive." VF sat again. "Shall we have some of that good-looking raisin pie? Do you have some ice cream to go with it? I'll bet Thad would like some ice cream." In the second chapter, it's just a couple of months later, and the patriarch's wife, Virginia, has decided to have some fun with her friends. The Queen of Red Lobster. "The sun is up, the sky is blue, the day is beautiful, and so are you. Virginia accompanied the Beatles in her squeaky voice as she drove jauntily to South Austin from the ranch to meet up with her wild women friends. 2 years ago, she had become the president of the Palette Club, 25 seniors who loved to paint Georgia O'Keeffe knockoffs while downing Chardonnay. These 5 members became best friends and met at Virginia's favorite eatery every few months just to gossip and gab. All of them loved hearing of Virginia's exploits with her many children, and what she says was her horny husband. She was always clever and made them laugh. Virginia was dressed in her white linen suit with her black velvet hair and a French twist and red nails to accent the look. She loved looking good when the occasion called for it. And as she neared her destination, she quickly turned the dial to the top 1940s hits. Kiss me once, then kiss me twice, then kiss me once again. Ah, Bing, if only I could. Her new gold caddy pulled up to the front of Red Lobster and parked in first spot. Still carrying on a conversation with herself, Virginia turned up the engine. It helps to say your Hail Marys. Hail Mary, full of grace, help me find a parking place. Works every time, she continued. She slid from the air-cooled buttercream leather seat into the stifling heat, closed the door, strolled around the car, past the Longhorn plates, and the doors of Red Lobster swung open, and the hostess greeted her with an appropriate Texas drawl. "Aw, Miss Landry, the wild women are here waiting for you." Virginia giggled. "Aren't you sweet? Aw, see 'em!" She nearly sprinted to the back table, arms extended, hands waving, where 4 60-something friends were waiting. Her friends turned simultaneously and squealed like teenagers. "Jenny, Jen, Virginia, Queen of Red Lobster." Virginia laughed heartily. "Give me some sugar." She always fell into an exaggerated Southern accent around her girlfriends. She hugged each like a long-lost lover. Max, the waiter, inquired, "Miss Landry, the usual?" "Pina colada." "Coming right up." Dottie, the most vivacious gossiper, was dressed in blue, with her Hermes cobalt blue and gold scarf around her neck, her black hair in a bun. Her accentuated eyebrows were reminiscent of Joan Collins. Dottie was French, which gave her the upper hand in all conversations. She loved braiding her English with a touch of sophistication. "Mon ami, tell us, where's Pierre? What's happening?" Well, after his poor performance, I'm thinking there's a young person here. We'll move on. Everyone laughed uproariously at the nasty anecdote and added feigned shock. "Oh, no." Then he took off. Dottie was on it. "His shirt?" I laughed at them all. Max arrived with Virginia's drink, and she sipped. "You know, when I was younger, guys I met would ask my name, and I'd say, 'Virginia,' and they'd say, 'Ah, virgin for short, but not for long.'" Her friends laughed again. "That's a good one," Dottie tittered. "But tell us about BF. What's up?" Virginia replied a bit too seriously with hidden anger. "On a cruise to Australia, completing his bucket list." "Why that face?" Patsy asked. "Well, BF will be gone soon enough." PJ, dressed like her name in flowing flowery pants and a comfy flowery blouse, wore her dishwater blonde hair in a ponytail. "So it's true," she said, almost in a whisper. The wild woman leaned in, all eyes on Virginia. "Brain cancer." Virginia took 2 more sips. Everyone at once began. "Oh, honey, terrible. What a way to go. Didn't Ethel Merman die of a brain tumor?" No, I think it was Susan Hayward." "Nightmare." Virginia looked up from her drink. "Nightmare is right. He had the surgery 5 months ago. Then the radiation, then it was chemo, glioblastoma they call it. Everyone holds out hope that with proper diet or some new miracle drug or procedure, but really, practically, my doctor says a stage 4 brain tumor is an incurable cancer." There was a beep. Virginia perked up. "I suppose it's separate beds for us, finally." Her friends laughed as girlfriends do, the all-knowing kind of laughter about sex, especially since Virginia was so forthcoming about the bull in the china shop VF was with her. "I'll drink to that," someone said. "How are the kids?" PJ asked. Virginia nearly dropped her drink. Kids? Patsy said, don't you have 7? Dottie raised 8 fingers. Ah, I just had them, I didn't count them. Virginia winked and laughed, trying to add wry humor. Everyone joined in the giggles, snorts, and turtles. Then Virginia couldn't help herself. I love every one of them, bless their hearts, but they are no longer children. Virginia took another sip of her cocktail. Good Catholics, 5 and 6 years, waited a few, and then my Joseph and Mary, all my little chicks. I think you forgot one, Dottie noted. Well, yes, as I said before, Richard and Joseph and Mary. And today, you're the pretty white hen, Dottie said. Virginia's tone turned sour. Oh, yes, they're just waiting for the land. But they'll have to free it from my cold, dead hands. Jenny, you hate that land. Won't you just sell it? PJ asked. Oh, the damn land. I know I said I hate it. Once I loathed it. The land, ugly cattle, the horses, the smell. Somehow, though, I guess I've grown fond of the land. You know, VF used to tell me that the Navajos would take the umbilical cord of an infant and bury it in the earth close to its birthplace, so the child would grow up tethered to the land. He said he felt that way. He said he felt he was part of the land. And then she grew silent. They hadn't ever seen her this way. Maybe it's growing on me. So what would you do? What would you do with that land? Oh, Jenny, you have so many options, Patsy, an award-winning realtor, opined. That area is going to be the next bedroom community of Austin. The value will just skyrocket. It's not my territory, but I have friends in the business who are beginning to sell ranchettes at the hill country for a pretty penny. There's a fortune to be made there in the next 20 years, Jenny. I'd give my left foot for all that property, Jen. You have it free and clear, right? PJ, the former teacher and community newspaper writer, asked. Yes, but I've never thought it was worth much. Oh, you can do so much with it. It has water, part of Barton Springs. You could dam it up and create a lovely little lake, and we could go out there and boat up and down the lake and sip mimosas all day. PJ had more ideas. You could have big barbecues and music out there. Jen, just think of the headlines. The Hill Country meets Austin at Silver Creek Country Club. Create a golf club and offer exclusive rights for a certain level of membership who could attend special musical evenings, like with Willie Nelson. Doesn't he live nearby? That pothead, Willie Nelson? Who would want to hear him sing? Virginia was ashamed that Willie Nelson owned nearby property and could hardly bear to hear his name. That was not her kind of music. These are good ideas, Jean, Dottie said. And in this third excerpt, VF has decided that he really needs to leave a video legacy. So his daughter Mary and his son Joe are shooting the video for him. And he wants to offer his thoughts about several different things. So this is a short excerpt. You've mentioned that the Obar probably has treasure on it. Can you give us hints of where you think we'll find it someday? VF adjusted himself in his seat, straightening his back and his shoulders, and his eyes brightened. Well, it goes all the way back to Canuna Nate Hortush. Canuna means bullfrog in Comanche. Nate was captured by the Comanches. Wait, Mary interrupted. Mr. Hortush, who owns the farm next to the Obar? Yes, darling, Mr. Hortush, now aged 90, was captured by the Comanche Indians when he was just 6 years old. They held him for 5 years and then gave him back to his family because they were being forced off their land. They renamed him Canuna, meaning bullfrog, because he would talk to the frogs in the wild. It was Nate who saw 3 men on horseback coming up to Rustler's Hill in the middle of the night with a large saddlebag and shovels. You mean Rustler's Hill on the Obar on your farm? Yes, dear. When was this? Well, this would have been around 1911, before I was born. The week he was captured, he said the Comanches camped close to our farm that week, and he couldn't sleep, so he was walking in the woods. His memory was vivid. He said he could see the 3 men at the top of the hill, outlined by the moonlight. They tied up their horses, took shovels from the saddles, and dug several holes close to an old oak on that hill. Then they took off their shirts, poured something from the saddlebag into their shirts, and tied them, and put them individually into the holes. So you think gold is buried up in that hill? Somewhere up there, I've never been able to find it, but there is buried treasure. Hortush is convinced he saw what he saw, and during that time, there were several train and bank robberies around Texas. Folks thought it might be Ben Kilpatrick from Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch. Someone saw him in town. This was about a year before the Sanderson train robbery, when he was killed trying to rob that train. Mary made a mental note to talk with Mr. Hortush. And what advice do you have for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren? Leah sighed and breathed heavily, as if the world was listening. And then, as if speaking to Mary when she was a child, he said, "Words matter. Words make worlds." When I was a child, I felt so alone out there in the middle of nowhere on that farm. No library, no bookstores. I tell that little child, "Read, girl, read." I tell her, "Be true to yourself and truthful to others. Do not let others bully you." I'd say, "Go to church for Christ's sakes. Keep your religion, and if you can't keep your religion, then be kind and love one another." I'd say, "Don't go to law school. Being a lawyer is being a liar. Look, darling." Leah brightened on a wave of new energy and talked directly to his only child who was a lawyer. "Being a banker gives you the license to steal. Being a lawyer gives you the vocabulary to lie." Thank you.